This is Raven from Raven's Reviews, and welcome back to my channel. So today we have a spooky one. We are going to not only be reviewing the 1984 classic, one of my favorite movies, A Nightmare on Elm Street, but we are going to be creating a set, baby. So we threw away that stand and we got out the machete because it's spooky season and it's about to go down. So before we get into the legacy of Mr. Freddy Krueger, I wanted to show you some of the colors I'll be using. So I buffed the nails and I put down a base coat, and for Freddy's creepy sweater, we are going to be using Casino, Perfect Red, Perfect Green, and Wicked Witch. Now, these colors I customize and make the perfect mix for Freddy's crusty, dusty sweater. And I thought it was just because when Madam Glam first reached out to me, they sent me this Casino and Wicked Witch. So I thought it was just so amazing that I could really shine light on these gorgeous colors, talk about one of my favorite fairy, yes, I'm a fairy, one of my very favorite horror movies. So I'm going to be using the brand new liners and tools that Madam Glam sent out. And I'm starting off with the dotting tool so I can mix Casino and the Perfect Red, and then Wicked Witch with the Perfect Green to get Freddy's sweater. Now that I have customized the colors for Freddy's sweater, we are going to move on to the middle finger, which my vision is a creepy red glow with his silhouette. If you know anything, even Freddy's silhouette can bring the fear into the hearts of the neighborhood kids on Elm Street. This perfect red is no joke. It is absolutely perfect. I'm going to be using a mix of products that I've purchased myself and that Madam Glam has sent out. I am so excited for this magic. I got to use Casino on a manicure in the beginning of fall, and as soon as I used it, I was like, this is the perfect crimson red. So you better believe I'm going to be showing detailed, hyper-realistic slashes using the Perfect Red and Casino. These colors are so versatile, and I really love the color story that I picked out for this set. It is so creepy. So I just wanted to quickly speak about this striper. Oh my heavens, the distribution on this brush of product is beautiful. It ensures everything levels perfect. You don't have any bumps or lumps. It is literally, it just goes smooth like butter. I am obsessed with this liner brush. I'm also very, striper brush, I'm very shaky, and I found that this allowed me to make the most pristine straight lines ever. I was so impressed. So now that we've mapped that out, I did 2 coats of the Casino, and now I'm going to go in with the Wicked Witch and the Perfect Green mixture so that I can do the other stripes. Before I do that though, we're going to quickly get out Beantown, which is from the new Boston Gel Party collection. It is a perfect nude, and it's going to be both our Freddy burn face and our Freddy slashes. So this is the last moment right now. There's going to be some trigger warnings. This is a slasher movie, so there is going to be all of the blood and guts and gore in this set. Now, I have watched this movie from like childhood. I'm a huge horror fanatic, but I put on the 1984 cult classic, A Nightmare on Elm Street, so that I could channel all of the creepiness into the set. Now, I have watched all of them multiple times, and my favorite, a part of the Freddy franchise, is Dream Warriors, which is the third Freddy movie, and then Freddy versus Jason. Oh my gosh, that to me is more of a horror comedy, but I love it. So as I was stating before, we really want to make this sweater look dingy and creepy, and this goes to show that though red and green are Halloween colors, also a little demon named Freddy colors. So this also invokes fear in the hearts of the children and the young people of Elm Street, and also the hearts of us. This cult classic, it swept the nation. This has gone down as one of the greatest horror movies ever made, and this actually was Johnny Depp, his debut role. So I actually wanted to show you a technique that I learned, and this is just from me playing around. I was on a Charm Sister call, and me and Mama were chit-chatting, and I was trying to do stuff for the Halloween Spotlight Challenge last year, and I was just trying to like come up with different concepts and stuff, and I was playing with blue tack, or we call it sticky tack in Canada. And as I was playing with this, I thought maybe I could create like rippling, like almost like a skin texture on a nail. And when I did it, the moment I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, this is Freddy Krueger. But I was so busy last year, I wasn't able to do it. So I thought this Halloween, I cannot let it pass. I must do a Freddy inspired set. So that brings us to today. I also want to apologize. I'm getting over a really nasty cold, so my voice is going to go in and out of raspiness. But I love y'all so much, and I am so passionate about nails, and now we're merging my two favorites of horror movies and nails. So I did a series called Netflix and Nails last year, where I was able to review the very first Fear Street. Now I want to bring that back this year and finish the other two movies. And as well, like I'm calling it Netflix and Nails, but it doesn't have to just be Netflix. It can be any kind of streaming service. But I personally, I really wanted to do this, and I wasn't able to find this on any streaming platforms, but I had the movie, so I popped her in, and we are watching this, as I said, the 1984 classic. Now, I'm going to get into this creepy story, but I just wanted to let you know what I'm doing here before we get into the meat and potatoes, if you will. So I am just using sticky tack with nothing. Nothing's on the nail. The nail's been cured. And just that normal tacky inhibition layer, I'm just merging the sticky tack to the nail. Now, I personally wouldn't do this on my natural nail just because it's impossible for the sticky tack to cure, so you'll always have something kind of tender in the center. But when I use the gel polish, it creates this hard, beautiful like coating. So I would personally do these for press-ons, but I think this is an amazing way to get texture and to really get that ripped flesh look. Now you can use a carving gel, but I don't have that, so I just thought, hey, ingenuity, we all got this sticky tack because we use it for our nail stands, we use it for so many different things. So I'm actually using Madam Glam's brand new silicone tool to merge the flesh to the nail. I want this to look so real. Again, this is the last trigger warning, y'all. We are about to get into the blood and guts and gore. So if that's not your thing, that's okay. You can click off of this video and I will most definitely see you in the next one. But if you're a horror, and I hate saying that because it sounds like I'm saying hussy. If you are a horror fanatic like I am, then please stick along, stay with me, because we are about to get into all of the magic of the Freddy franchise and creating this gorgeous set. So our story starts off with Miss Tina Gray. She is a teenager, just a beautiful young woman living on Elm Street, just living her best life. And she awakes from a terrifying nightmare where a disfigured man with blade-fixed gloves attacks her in a boiler room. When she wakes up, her mom points out these 4 mysterious slashes through her nightgown. She is terrified. The following morning, she talks with her best friend, Nancy, Now, Nancy Thompson is the main character, and this is what I call our final girl. Nancy is a badass. So Nancy and Nancy's boyfriend, which is Glenn Latz. Glenn is Mr. Johnny Depp. So they actually revealed to her when she was talking about this really scary dream that they also had a nightmare. So they see how terrified Tina is, and what do? Like, we would do anything for our best friends. So they said, we're going to spend the night with you. We're going to make sure you're okay. Because Tina was so terrified, she was convinced that she could be killed in real life. And they were not having that. So any force, seen or unseen, they were going to be there for their best friend. This is where our story gets very interesting. Mr. Rod Lane interrupts the little slumber party because that is Tina's partner. And he's like, you guys are not going to be protecting my little wifey without me being here. So, Tina and Rod go upstairs for couple snuggles and so that he can be there for his partner. And Nancy and Glenn, they wait downstairs. Oh, heavens. They awake to the worst possible thing. Screaming. By the time they get upstairs, their friend Tina is ripped to shreds. Tina's partner is shaking. He looks as if he has seen a ghost. He literally watched Tina, her body levitate off of the bed, fly all over the bedroom, and to the point she was laying on top of the ceiling. You can imagine she's defying gravity, and he can see slashes, like razor-sharp slashes, carving through her body. Imagine seeing your partner being moved by an unknown force and there's nothing you can do about it. Well, you already know what happens next. You better believe, if you are there and you're the only person in the bedroom with somebody who passes that way, you are suspect number one. So the police take him in with the quickness. And to even make things more complicated, guess who is like head sheriff? Yeah. Well, the Mr. Policeman of the Year, that would be Nancy's father. So we are getting thickums in this story. So Nancy at this point is terrified, and she's trying to do everything she can do, having as much caffeine as possible just to stay up. She ends up falling asleep in the bathtub and is nearly drowned by this burned, disgusting man. They have no clue who he is. They don't know anything. They just know that he is terrified and he is disgusting. In Nancy's dream, she does see the man kill Rod at the police station. So Nancy is so scared that she tries to run and intervene and help her friend because she knows that her friend is there under false pretenses. He didn't hurt her best friend. And she knows exactly who did, but who would believe her? After she ends up describing this disfigured, burned, terrifying demon, she sees true fear in her mom's face. Her mom literally barricades the house. And before this, she takes her daughter to a sleep clinic because she's like, no daughter of mine's going to be having nightmares. But in the sleep clinic, they force her to go to sleep, which is like the worst possible thing because he literally only can get you in your dreams, right? So at that point, she luckily wakes up at this sleep clinic, but she's actually brought in something from the dream into real life, which is Freddy Krueger's hat, his fedora, and it literally has the name Fred Krueger on it. So as she's screaming about Fred Krueger, her mom literally barricades her into the house and is like, listen, I don't want you to talk about this man. And then she literally has like the fear of God in her. And it's like, this is where the town's secrets start spilling out. And they're finding more and more information about the fact that Fred Krueger was most definitely not just something of dreams. He was a man that lived in their town. He was a child murderer that killed over 20 children. But he ended up being released on a technicality. And then he was vigilante justice. The parents burnt him alive. So you can imagine he's most definitely a vengeful spirit. I view him as a demon, okay? And he's killing, you know, the children of Elm Street. But that's all that's known. So Nancy's trying to boggle her mind as to what's the connection? Why is he coming after her and her friends? It's one thing if a bunch of parents, you know, burned him alive with vigilante justice, but what did that have to do with her? One thing I truly admire about Nancy is she's not somebody to just sit there like a damsel in distress and wait for somebody to save her. She is going to get up and save herself, save her friends, do whatever is in her power. And knowing that her boyfriend, Glenn, was a potential next victim of this disturbed, disgusting man, she knew she was going to do whatever in her power to help him. Now, she tried to call his house, but his father, now knowing what's going on because the parents talk, they don't want the kids talking. They don't want any repressed memories coming forth. They don't want any of that. They just want to keep the kids as out of the loop as possible, which is so sad because as we learn, we are only as sick as our secrets. And if they had have maybe talked to these kids, they could have prevented what inevitably happened. You see, Freddy works on fear. So it spreads through the town like a plague. One kid has a dream, talks about it, the names of Freddy are whispered in the halls, and another kid begins to dream, and another kid. And just like that, they've given him the power to slip in between dream to dream and haunt these kids. And what's even scarier is if he kills them in the dream, it happens in real life. But Nancy's starting to think a lot. She's like, if I was able to pull his hat out of my dream, could I possibly pull him? And maybe on my plane, she would have an advantage and maybe finally get to kill Krueger. So Nancy is trying to call, and of course, she's getting blocked out by Glenn's family. And eventually, Nancy comes up with this master plan that she is going to pull Freddy out, and basically she rigs all these booby traps and all of this stuff around the house and just basically tells her father, the policeman, 20 minutes, no matter what you've got to do, you wake me up. If you've got to break down the door or whatever, you've got to help me. Of course, they come too late because Miss Nancy does the damn thing and she gets Freddy into our reality. But of course, the parents, they drop the ball and they're not able to get to her in time. And by the time they do get to her in the burning house, Freddy has most definitely escaped. So it's like, can somebody do something right? Do the kids have to do everything up in here? Jeez. Now, for this nail, I wanted to create a really spooky shadow. So I actually took the perfect black and I outlined the edge of this nail, similar to the pop trend that's going viral right now. And then I actually took one of my Sephora eyeshadow brushes, and I just tapped and patted out and created the gorgeous fog. Now, at this point, I already finished the Nightmare on Elm Street, and I could not find Dream Warriors anywhere, so I ended up casting the new Nightmare on Elm Street. So this was just a nightmare marathon as I was going through and doing this set. I had so much fun, y'all. And if you guys want to hear more reviews, of movies and then nail sets inspired by the movies, please comment down below because it's literally my passion. And honestly, I give this movie 5 ravens out of 5. I would give it 1,000 if I could. This is flawless story making, and though, I don't think this is a slasher where they just put gore to put gore. This is a slasher with heart, with feeling. It is literally palpable. You can just feel the emotion, the fear on these kids. And I just think they did such a phenomenal job with this movie. So just as Freddy strikes fear in the hearts of these children, I wanted to create this shadow so you could see Krueger in all of his, just his true oogly boogly spookiness. One big thing about when Dawn finally, Nancy's father, gets into the house, extinguishes the fire and everything else, he actually, I believe they both see Freddy attacking Marge, the mother, but Freddy actually pulls the mom through the bed. So it's like ultimate fear. But when Freddy tries to lunge at Nancy, she actually turns her back on him. And she's like, I'm not giving you any ounce of fear. Nothing out of me. And he actually evaporates. And that's when she realizes that they have been giving him power. But Nancy's nightmare's not over. Nancy's the final girl. All her friends and her partner are gone. And Nancy wakes up and she steps out into a bright, foggy morning. All of her friends are there. Her mom is still alive. Nancy gets into Glenn's, her partner's, convertible, and they're heading to school. But as the top comes down on the convertible, it's green and red striped. Top suddenly locks them in the car, and it's driving, like swerving all over the street. 3 little girls with jump ropes gently hum and sing, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. You can imagine this story isn't done. If you would like me to review the other Freddy movies, or any horror movies for that matter, please let me know down in the comments down below. This was just a review of the 1984 cult classic, A Nightmare on Elm Street. None of the other movies would have been even a possibility without this. I think this was a trailblazer for its time. And I will never forget, he is one of my favorite villains because he strikes fear. He makes my skin crawl. So the nitty-gritty of everything is that they never go into detail of what Krueger did to the kids, but you know in your heart of hearts that he messed with those kids. And when the kids told their parents, they got so infuriated and the rage came through them. And when justice wouldn't prevail, they seeked their own justice and they set him on fire. But they could not have ever anticipated that that death would not be the end of Krueger, that he would be back for years to come to take vengeance on the parents and the children of Elm Street. This, again, it sends chills down my spine, and I truly wanted to make sure I did his creepy, peeled back, burnt face, so that's what this pinky nail is. I am just taking my brush here, and I want to make sure, so one thing that's very important when you're covering your sticky tack is I like to create different areas that are thinner and thicker so that you can get dimension within the design, if you will, so it can give a real feel look. So as you see, I did apply pressure, so there's areas that the polish is thinner, that you can almost see that sticky tack coming through, but it actually creates a depth and how do I say it, like a range in colors that would be found naturally if this was actually happening. So I am a huge fan of special effects makeup, and I really thought these would be really cool Halloween nails. Like, as soon as my brother saw these, actually, he screamed. He is an amazing makeup artist, and he does a lot of TikToks, and his work is just phenomenal. Actually, you better click the notification bell so you don't miss. We're going to do a collaboration in the future where he does a makeup look and I do a set of nails, and then I send them over to him and he'll reveal the makeup look and the horror nails, because we are both horror fanatics, it's in our blood. Now, my huge thing with Freddy's sweater was it was burnt and ripped and torn, and I wanted to create the look of the sweater, but also just the dingy dirt factor. So I actually did straight lines and then dabbed parts of it out, and then I did cross hatching and then also dabbed some of that out so I could just create more dimension as well in this sweater nail. we jumped right into the dream world of Mr. Freddy Krueger, I wasn't able to share the discount codes, so all the information of all the products used and all the discount codes will be in the description box below. But you can feel free to use Mama 30, Priya 30, or RAVENSNAILBAR 30. You can use any of my sister's codes, you can use my code, and you will save yourself 30% off. That is a whopping 30%, y'all. Save all of them coins. Honestly, Madam Glam, their quality speaks for itself. So any kind of savings you can get for these salon quality products, it's like a win-win. It just means you can get more polishes, y'all. This set makes my horror heart so happy, and I did try to do the sweater nails matte, but it wasn't giving what I needed, and it actually took away some of the dimension and the individual line work that I did. So I actually just went back and just left this whole set glossy. It's really important to make sure when you're doing the glossy parts on the skin texture that you are being really firm with the brush so that you're not losing the definition in those spots. So I've taken out the Holy Trinity, the base coat, no wipe top coat, and velvet matte. These are essential for all of your nail art. After you've worked so hard on expressing yourself and creating a masterpiece, you've got to seal it in. And to start off, you need the perfect foundation, and that's the base coat. So I found that I had perfect adhesion, and these press-ons are so gorgeous. Now, I did size them out for my practice hand Autumn. So if you guys would like to see Autumn wearing these fierce nails, then stay tuned and it will be on my Instagram. This set was so much fun, y'all. I just turned on the Freddy movies and I just let everything flow. This was a complete freestyle. I knew I wanted to do like a ripping flesh nail. I wanted to do something with his skin. That I wanted to do a silhouette, and I wanted to pay some kind of homage to his sweater, but I didn't know how I was going to put it together. So sometimes you have to just let that art flow through your little phalanges and use your Madam Glam brushes, and just, you know, like an artist with the brush, it will flow all of the magic. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this spooky telling of A Nightmare on Elm Street 1984 classic, and I also hope you enjoyed this set that I created. If you would like any more spooky sets or movies and nails, Miss Netflix and nails, please let me know in the comments down below. A huge thank you to Madam Glam for sending out the goodies that I used in this video, and just remember, do all things with love, and I'll see you in your dreams. Sweet dreams. Mwah. I love you. You guys are the best nail family in all of the land. See you in the next one.